What's up, everybody? Wad007 here, and welcome back to a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. In today's Duel Links video, we're going to take a look at the brand new structure deck that got added to the game very recently, Tales of the Noble Knights. I'm going to be talking about this deck and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on this structure deck and helping you guys form your own opinion on whether or not you should invest into this deck, because there is some cool things with this deck, but there's also some downsides with this deck too, and I'm going to be breaking it down for you guys in today's video. So if you guys are excited and you want to see more content like this, you know what to do. Leave a like in the video down below. Let's see if we can reach like 150 likes in today's video. That'd be awesome. And yeah, if you guys like this content, consider subscribing. Also, before we get into today's video, I gotta give a shout out to all the YouTube members at the Chaos Dragon Lion tier and the Misty Trader Only fan tier. Thank you again to Junior Falaz, Hazri Xri, HFA Recon, Hope to Cruise, and Mr. KO3054 for the continued support on the YouTube channel. You guys are amazing. And yeah, let's get into today's review on this brand new structure deck. Now, what's awesome about this structure deck right here is that this adds a lot of support to an archetype that's been in Duel Links for 2 years now. Noble Knights were introduced in Duel Links back in May 21st of 2018, and the deck was an okay deck. It had enough support to hold its own in the ladder, but it never really seen like a lot of competitive success in tournaments, and it wasn't a deck that consistently reached King of Games. But if you were a very dedicated player for Noble Knights and you like play this deck religiously, you were able to get King of Games. But it wasn't one of those decks that you can just be brain dead, just go monkey brain, and then be able to get King of Games with Noble Knights. But it was still a cool deck, and it did see some play. And when it comes to this new structure deck right here, it adds some support to this deck. It adds this card called Merlin, which is a fantastic card and one of the key cards for this deck to really get the combos going. And it adds the Xyz monster, Sacred Noble Knight of King. I don't know how to pronounce the last part of that card's name. And again, don't know how to pronounce that word, but it adds this other Xyz right here, King of the Noble Knights. These two cards right here are very powerful Xyz monsters that once they get going with the Noble Knight combos, it is very deadly and devastating to deal with in Duel Links. And I'll show you guys what I mean in a duel replay later on in the video. But basically, this deck adds these cards right here that gives the deck a little bit of a boost to really get things going. There's also this card right here, which is not that bad of a card until Noble Arms are needed once again. And a lot of people have been playing this card. I personally don't like it. I don't like the flow of the card, and it's just not for me, but it's also a pretty cool card too that we'll take a look in today's video. But yeah, this deck right here adds these 4 cards into the game, and it does help out the archetype a lot. But unfortunately, these cards are not enough to really make Noble Knights a competitive deck. And hopefully the next mini box we get in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links will kind of push Noble Knights to be a competitive deck, kind of like with Dragoonides, where Dragoonides had a brand new structure deck, and that structure deck gave Dragoonides a boost. But it wasn't until a box later on that got released in Duel Links that added a few more Dragoonides cards to really make the deck work well. So fingers crossed that's going to be happening right now, because right now, the time that I'm recording this video, I would not really recommend this deck. But if we get some new support in the next mini box, then this deck will potentially be competitively viable, because there's some really good cards in the game. For example, Merlin right here, a very, very, very powerful card for Noble Knights, because this card is your main combo guy right here. Because when you summon this card, you can tribute this card and special summon one Noble Knight monster from your deck, and that is any one of your Noble Knights. So basically, this is a searcher that you summon, search for your Noble Knight, special summon it onto the field, and then start going for your combos. And then another fantastic thing about this card right here is its second effect, where during either player's turn, if you are able to either synchro summon or Xyz summon, you can do that during either player's turn. And the reason why this is a very good effect is because in the off chance that your opponent has a card or a monster or whatever the case may be that could get rid of your Noble Knight monsters that are on the field, you can chain Merlin from your graveyard to then immediately Xyz summon or immediately synchro summon to potentially avoid destruction, because your opponent would target said card, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'll just counter with my Merlin in the graveyard, Xyz summon. That monster trying to target is not in the field anymore because I used it to Xyz summon. So there you go right there. And that's the effect you're going to be utilizing a lot. You're not really going to utilize the synchro effect because the synchro monster for Noble Knights is not that good. But yeah, this card right here, the fact that you can just bounce your stuff and special summon any noble monster with Merlin is fantastic. And kind of the monkey brain combo to really get things going is that you summon Merlin, and then the main monkey brain combo that you're going to want to utilize with Merlin is while you have him on the field, you tribute him off to special summon into Noble Knight Mordaunt. Then you utilize Mordaunt's effect while equipped with one of your Noble Arm equipped spells to then special summon into Noble Knight Boars. Now, to resolve this card's effect, when you do utilize this effect, you do destroy one of your noble arm equipped spells in order to do it. But luckily, what's really cool with the noble arm equipped spells is that each time they get destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can then activate its effect to re-equip it to a noble knight monster. So you activate Mordaunt's effect, pitch your noble arm equipped spell card, special summon into this card right here called Noble Knight Boars, and then equip that noble arms equipped spell that got destroyed, and then you trigger its effect to then add to another noble knight monster. You equip it to Boars, and then now you can use Boars effect to then search for 3 noble arm equipped spell cards, and you basically reveal 3 of them from your deck. Your opponent gives you one of them, you pitch the other ones to the graveyard, and then you just utilize that noble arm card to then equip to Mordaunt. And now your Mordaunt and Boars are now level 5 monsters, so then you can go into Sacred Noble Knight and kind of just go pop off. Or if you want turn 1, you could just keep your noble knights on the field just kind of chilling, and then whenever your opponent does something weird, you just play Merlin's second effect where you just Exceed Summon into Sacred Noble Knight. So that's why Merlin's so good, because it gets the combos going, you have protection, and you can get things just popping off right there. So that's why Merlin is awesome right here. And then when it comes to the other 2 cards from this EX structure deck, that I'm not going to talk too much about in today's video, but I'll still just give a mention because it is kind of part of the structure deck review. This card is kind of cool. I'm not too big of a fan of it, but you can excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the amount of noble armor equipped spells you control. And if you do, you can add one of them to your hand and then place the remaining cards on top of your deck in any order. Also, while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon a noble knight monster with a different name from the cards you control or is in your graveyard, so potentially you could protect yourself from getting OTK'd by just utilizing it needed once again to special summon a noble knight monster from your deck to potentially protect you. But again, I'm not too big of a fan of this because you need to pitch it to the graveyard in order to do it. It's a trap card, it's really slow. I'd rather play something like TTH that can be reactive, or Cosmic Cyclone that could be reactive instead of this card right here. But it's still cool, and hopefully when we get more support from Noble Knights, maybe this card will see more play, because I see a lot of people utilizing this card. But personally for me, I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it. And then this Xyz monster right here is pretty cool. And this guy, from what I've noticed, is more of late game play, where when this guy is Xyz, somebody can target 3 noble armor equipped spells with different names in your graveyard, equip those targets to this card. And then once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card and destroy any number of spell and trap cards on the field up to the number of noble armor equipped spells you control. So when you go into the crazy combo with Mordaunt and with Boars, you'll have a bunch of equipped spells in your graveyard. And by the off chance that you have 2 level 4 noble knight monsters, which could definitely happen in a duel, then you can just go into the Exceed Summon of your King of the Noble Knights. But no, your main target's going to be this guy right here, Sacred Noble Knight, rank 5 Exceeds monster, and then with his gimmick is that he's able to pop a monster on the field. So this guy pops monsters, this other guy pops spell cards, and that's kind of the gist of the deck. Now here's my Noble Knight deck that I got right here, and I've been having a lot of fun with this version of this deck, but it probably is not the most optimal way to play Noble Knights. And especially considering that I am a monkey brain gold rank player, I don't know what the heck that I'm doing, but I'm making this video for you guys nonetheless, so take it as you will. But anyways, there's been a lot of interesting things with this deck right here, and while I have had a pretty good win-loss ratio with this deck and play testing it and whatnot in the gold rank ladder, still there is a lot of things that I can definitely tell that this deck is going to have some issues with. Now, like I was talking about earlier, Merlin is one of the best cards for this deck right here. So considering that this is one of the best cards for the deck, if you are going against Noble Knights and they open up with Merlin or Noble Knight Mordaunt, whatever you can do, make sure to get rid of that card as quick as possible. This deck right here has a very hard time going against any of the very powerful and common back row cards like Canadia, Floodgate, Karma Cut. Cards like those will absolutely annihilate this deck. That's why I'm rocking 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, just to hopefully get by some of those very toxic back row cards. Because yeah, if your opponent Floodgates your Merlin or Karma Cuts your Merlin or Mordaunt, you can't do a thing. You're not going to be able to go for your combos, and it is just game over at that point. But if you do pop off with your Noble Knights and get the whole board set up, especially with Merlin, you're going to be good to go. Trust me, you're going to be good to go. You're going to have a lot of outs, and you're going to have a lot of plays to play around your opponents. So keep that in mind for sure. But still, again, this deck is so weak to back row cards. And on top of that, when it came to some of the play testing that I have played with this deck, while this deck has a lot of outs and a lot of plays when you do start popping off, it still takes a little while to get rid of your opponent. This deck does not finish off your opponent as quick as I personally would like, but still, this deck does have a lot of outs, and I'll show you guys a really good replay of a ton of counter plays that I did against my opponents. It does a really good showcase of showcasing everything with the deck, that's for sure. But yeah, this is my deck list right here. And let's go hop into the Duel Replay so I can further explain the really cool nitty gritty of this deck. So in this Duel Replay that I'm going to showcase to you guys, I'm going against a Joey, and you're going to witness throughout this entire Duel Replay that I'm going to do a lot of goofy plays. And that's because I'm still new to this deck and trying to learn everything. But I still wanted to showcase this replay to you guys because I can talk about the nitty gritty and some of the cool combos that you can utilize the Noble Knights deck with. Because there's a lot of cool stuff that happened in this replay, even though I didn't make the most optimal plays throughout the duel. Anyways, we're going against a super heavy samurai Joey Wheeler player right here, which is why he didn't have any back row cards, which works for us. And we're going to just kind of pop off right here. We have 2 Merlins in our hand, so we're going to activate Merlin to special summon into Noble Knight Murat, which is what you want to do every time you summon Merlin. Summon into this guy right here so you can get the combo going. Next up, we're going to do is we're going to equip Caliburn. We're going to activate the effect of Caliburn to give us 500 life points, and then we're going to activate Mordaunt's ability to special summon into Boars. And due to the fact that we activate Mordaunt's ability, we had to destroy our Noble Arms equipped spell card. But this works out in our favor because every time a Noble Arms equipped spell card gets destroyed by any card effect, your own or your opponent's, you can recycle it and re-equip it to one of your Noble Knight monsters. So we're going to re-equip it to Boars in order to activate Boars' ability now, because Boars can only activate his ability when equipped with a Noble Arms card. So we're going to activate his ability to excavate 3 cards right here. And this is when I was experimenting with Until Noble Arms are needed once again, because I saw some people play this card where they activated Boar's effect to search for these 3 cards, and then their opponent chose the quote spell card for whatever reason. So the person was able to have his Until Noble Arms in his graveyard to activate this card later, which is really cool if that pops off. But if your opponent has a brain, they're gonna make you and force you to add Noble Arms are needed once again, which is just never good. As you guys saw right here, I was able to pitch my Noble Arms equipped spell cards to the graveyard, but then now I have this useless trap in my hand. So that's why, and part of the reason why I don't like this card right here. Anyways, though, luckily we had a different Noble Arms equipped spell card in our hand, so we equip it to Mordaunt. And then what we do is that we activate this card's effect to get rid of this Giga Gloves right here. Unfortunately, since it was Giga Gloves, that's going to be a problematic card, because every time you attack or direct attack your opponent, they can banish their Giga Gloves like you see right here and force us to basically have 0 attack, which is never fun, and they're able to get a search off. But unfortunately for us, that worked out because we baited out our opponent from forcing his Giga Gloves, because our opponent didn't need to activate Giga Gloves, but he did. And now we're going to go into the Xyz summon of our boy thanks to Merlin, because Merlin's effect activates during either player's turn, and that's why Merlin is such a good card to have in the graveyard, because you can activate his second effect during either player's turn and Xyz summon whenever you want. So we're going to summon into your boy Sacred Noble Knight and basically re-equip all of our Noble Arms cards from our graveyard to give this guy to a whopping 33 or 3,200 attack points, which is awesome right here. And then we inflict a ton of damage to your boy Joey. So that's why Merlin's awesome, because whenever something goes wrong, you got him in the graveyard and you can go for the automatic Xyz summon into your boy Sacred Noble Knight to potentially protect yourself from some annoying shenanigans, which I love so much. Anyways, this Joey right here is about to pop off and go to the Xyz summon of Samurai Ogre, and he's going to give him a ton of equip spell cards, or not equip spell cards, but equips of super heavy samurais to him. And it's going to be very problematic for us because he pops all of our back row. Fortunately for us, Noble Arms, when they get destroyed by card effects, they can just re-equip themselves, which is amazing. So boom, boom, boom. And also what we have right here is just some more shenanigans. And sadly, Samurai Ogre is going to be able to attack twice. Fortunately for us, thanks to the effect of Noble Arms of Destiny, our Noble Knight did not get killed right away, so we didn't take as much damage as we normally would. If he would have been able to destroy a monster and attack again, we probably would have got out decayed. But fortunately for us, that didn't happen. We're still chilling. Anyways, we activate the effect of Sacred Noble Knight to revive our Noble Knight Mordaunt, which is awesome right here. And then what we do is that we summon our other Mordaunt we just drew into to go into the Xyz summon of King of the Noble Knights, which is going to be useful right here because one, we re-equip all of our equipped spells, and on top of that, we're going to utilize his effect to pop our opponent's back row, which is going to help us out a lot to get rid of that Samurai Ogre, which is just fantastic. So this guy's good. He can be good in certain situations. Again, he's a late game card. He's not an opener, but he's a late game card to really get things going. Next up, what we do right here is we activate our Noble Arms equip spell card to pop the set card Unfortunately, it was a super heavy samurai drum, so he's gonna be able to special summon his ogre back into the field. This right here, I was able to win this duel, but I clowned very hard with some of the plays that I did. What I did first, this was the good play. This was the good play that I did, is that I popped my own cards with King of the Noble Knights effect, because you can do that with this guy. And the reason why I popped my own equip spell cards was for the fact that I can equip one of my Noble Arms cards to die stand, to utilize die stand's ability to pop my opponent's monsters. So I activate my Noble Arms effects to re-equip them all to my monsters, and I use die stand's ability to get rid of my opponent's monster. So there's that right there. And then what we do is that we do 1500 points of damage right here and get Joey to 300 life points. And then what we see right here is that we see our opponent still trying to survive on a whim. Fortunately for us, we had the resources to get rid of him here, so it was a-okay. I still won the duel. As you guys can see though, this deck has a lot of really cool combos and plays and ways to play around your opponent if need be. But at the same time, going against top tier meta decks in the game that have Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic Cyclone is a game changer because they can get rid of the equip spell cards, and once those cards are banished, your good is gone. Again, Floodgate, Canadia, Karma Cut, all horrible cards to go against. Never fun to deal with. And there's just the back row in this game just makes this deck very handicapped, which is why it's hard to recommend this deck right here because of how powerful those back row cards are. So in this next duel replay, I'm going to showcase to you guys, I'm going against an Arrow Mage player, and I clowned hard at the beginning of this duel because I forgot how to go against Arrow Mage players and I was just not doing the right things. But in the end, when I figured out how the deck worked again, I was able to pop off and decimate my opponents. So let's go take a look at this replay because there was some spicy shenanigans that happened. Now this hand right here was really bad. So this card right here, Queen of the Noble Arms, I'm not too sure if I would recommend running this card. It's a good like tech card, because of the fact that it is a equip spell for Noble Knight monsters and it gives them some pretty good effects, but at the same time it's not as floatable as the generic Noble Arms equip cards. And you'll see right here, I wasn't able to get my Xyz monster going because of the fact that I couldn't re-equip this card from the graveyard right away. So this card has some good effects. If you take a look and read the effects right here, there's some really good stuff this card can do, but at the same time it doesn't re-equip itself, so it's kind of like, do you want to get your combos going? I don't know. But fortunately for us, we had some pretty good back row. We had Cosmic Cyclone and Treacherous Trap Hole, so we're able to do some stuff against our opponent. Anyways, I don't know why I just let my opponent just kind of pop off with their Aroma Gardening. I should have just used Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of Gardening right away, but I just don't know how to go against this deck. And yeah, when my opponent ended their turn, I got rid of Dried Winds. Again, probably should have got rid of Aroma Gardening, but still, I had to get rid of all these cards somehow because all the spell and trap cards that Arrow Mages have are just so annoying as it is. But anyways, I go for some shenanigans right here. I was able to re-equip Queen of the Noble Arms from my graveyard because once per turn, you can keep doing that even if it's in your graveyard. So that's cool right there. And I was able to finally get going on my combos to search for my Noble Arms equip spell cards and go for some Xyz summoning. Next up, what we do right here is that our opponent gives us our Noble Arms, this Noble Arms equip spell right here. So I was hopefully trying to target my opponent's back row cards, but unfortunately with this equip spell card, when they flip up their face down set card, the destruction effect from this equip spell just doesn't work, so keep that in mind. Anyways though, what we do right here is that we do go into the Xyz summon of our Sacred Noble Knight. And then what we do right here is that we re-equip our cards. We go for the attack. Aroma Gardening comes through to special summon Rosemary, and then I got stopped in my tracks. Again, I should have got rid of Aroma Gardening, but I was a clown and I did not. So to do that, I got punished hardcore right here, and our opponent was able to pop off and go for some crazy Arrow Mage combos, which did not make your boy happy. Luckily, at TTH to get rid of our opponent's Arrow Mage cards, so I was going to go for the strike again to try to get rid of our opponent's cards. Unfortunately, our opponent was being toxic and not letting us go for our combos, but it is what it is. Anyways, thanks to a Queen, I was going to re-equip it to Dice Den and use Dice Den to get rid of Aroma Gardening. So we try to get that to work, which actually did resolve. Dried Winds going to trigger to try to get rid of our monster, but fortunately, which is awesome about Queen of Noble Arms, is that when your Noble Knight monster is about to get destroyed and it's a light attribute monster, you can pop your Queen of Noble Arms instead of your Noble Knight monster. So kind of the same thing as that one Noble Arms equipped spell that protects it from destruction. This card does the same thing, which is pretty cool. And then what I do right here is I do go into the Xyz summon of my King of the Knights after I utilize my Sacred Noble Knight to pop Rosemary with his effect. Next up, I use King of the Noble Knights effect to pop all of our opponent's back row cards. Then I go for the attack. Next up, my opponent tries to set up again with their Arrow Mage stuff to try to survive, but fortunately for us, his poor little Arrow Mage card didn't have enough attack to get rid of either of our cards. So what I was able to do right here is I was able to trigger my effects again, activate my back row destruction effect to get rid of the cards, then I activate my Sacred Noble Knights effect to get rid of his monster, summon it to Mordaunt, and then just go for game right here, which is super spicy, and I loved it so much. Now for fun, I thought it'd been a good idea to do one live duel in today's video, so let's just see how this goes against this person called Junior playing Maximilian Pegasus. Ooh, we're going second. I thought I was gonna go first, but we are going second. In this hand, ooh, we got Merlin. Not bad. I think we'll be able to go for some shenanigans. Oh no, this is going to be a testament on if Noble Knights can survive against meta. If we don't draw into Cosmic Cyclone, I definitely think this is going to be an insta loss. And man, of course, when I click the record button and do a live duel in gold rank, I go against Shiranui. Because dude, I was not going against a single meta deck when I was practicing off video. So he's going to go into a Squire Saga, sets a card. Please, Cosmic Cyclone. That is unfortunate. That is extremely unfortunate. Well, let's see if it's a karma cut. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. I'm surprised he didn't trigger anything. Maybe he's going to wait to trigger something. I don't know. And here's going to go into your boy Mordaunt. Going to equip Noble Arms of Destiny. And then trigger Mordaunt's ability. And then special summon. I low-key want to summon Dice then, but it's just not the play. Not the play right now, at least. Activate Destiny's effect to then equip to Boars. Now we're going to trigger his ability to search for 3 Noble Arms equipped spells. Hopefully this person is dumb. It gives us this card right here. That'd be epic. If not, we'll just get Gargalatin. Actually, any 3 of these cards that we're about to search for are actually going to be useful. Yeah, because one will boost our attack, one will pop back row. Ooh, he gave us Galtine. I'll take it. I'm fine with that. Go for a Galtine. Get that boost. And then we're going to set TTH. And then I'm going to go swing. Maybe, well, no, it was reactable the entire time, so it couldn't be a wall disruption. Ooh, that hurts. No, that's fine, because we have Merlin in the grave. We have Merlin in the graveyard, so we'll just chain that. Yeah, we'll just chain that real quick. You should have activated it once you saw Merlin, because you would have been able to get that quick dub. There we go. We're summoned into a Sacred Noble Knight. Even though we missed the timing to trigger his effect to equip our cards back, we'll still be able to equip at least one of them. So yeah, we don't have our Noble Arms of Destiny protection, but at least we're still able to get one of our equips. Ooh, let's go. That's what I like to see, baby. And we got a Prismatic Merlin. That's epic. Very epic gamer moment. Okay, so we'll trigger your effect. Get rid of one of you. Pop you. Flex our Prismatic Merlin. Activate his ability. And we're gonna summon to Dyson for the memes. And I think we're just gonna attack for a game right here. I can't think of anything else to do. We got extremely lucky against this player. All this guy had to do was activate his Rugeki Break right away. If he activated Rugeki Break immediately on Merlin, I wasn't able to pop off like that. But hey, I can showcase that I won against Shiranui's live on video with this deck. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Final verdict of this brand new structure deck EX. It definitely makes Noble Knights a playable deck again in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. And you can get wins in the ranked PP ladder with this deck, but will you be able to reach King of Games? I'm honestly not sure. The fact that while this deck does seem good on paper, it can get absolutely annihilated by any back row cards in the game. Cosmic Cyclone, Rugeki Break, Karma Cut, Canadia, Floodgate. So many back row cards in Duel Links can just stop this deck from popping off. All you need to do is get rid of Merlin, or all you need to do is get rid of the Noble Arms equipped cards, and they can't go to their combo, and they basically instantly lose right there. So This deck is good and it's fun to play, but it's just not competitively viable at this moment. Unless we're going to get a new Noble Knight support in a future mini box to coincide with this new structure deck release, this deck is not going to see any competitive play, and it's just going to be a resident sleeper EX structure deck, which has been kind of the trend recently when it comes to these recent structure deck EX that we've been getting in Duel Links. So I don't know what it is. Konami just has not been dropping any jaw-dropping EX structure decks in a while, have they? So final verdict, this deck is mid. Not good, not going to be on the tier list at this moment, but it's a lot of fun to play. I've been genuinely enjoying playing this deck, and it's been a ton of fun to do. So there you go right there. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video on the review on this new structure deck EX. If you want to see more content like this and other Duel Links content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and like the video if you guys enjoyed. And I think it's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching today's Duel Links video, and I'll go see you guys next one. Adios, everybody. Have a good day.